recording
Yeah.
here. All right, let's do it. Hey guys, welcome to Doing Big Things. I'm Brett McDermott, your host, and this is a very special day. It's actually our very first episode. And every week I'm going to be speaking with on the up and coming entrepreneurs that are doing big things. And I'm going to try and find out what their habits are, their systems, and their mindset that's allowing them to move forward with their lives in a powerful way. Now, I'm beyond elated to have a good friend on today who is definitely doing big things. He started out as a dog walker when he moved to New York City many years ago. He then quickly became one of the most successful real estate agents in town. And he's recently focused his efforts on building a $10 million, that's right, you heard it correct, $10 million real estate portfolio with his real estate fund, LVL Group. His name is Evan Rugen. You can find him on TikTok or Instagram as Bowery Boy. And I'm really excited to have you on as a guest, my man. How are you doing?
Very good. And before we forget, Bowery Boy, like Soldier Boy, BOI.
Correct.
The BOI was taken.
Lest we not forget the Bowery Boy with the BOY. Does he actually post content or no? Is
I've
he a real
messaged
thing?
him probably over 15 times to buy the username. No response ever.
I've gone through the same thing with BrettMcDermott.com. He doesn't use it at all. It reroutes to his LinkedIn page. It infuriates me, but I can't buy it off of him. You just got to move on.
Yeah. It's all good, man. I like it. It's like a little spice. But yeah, I'm good, man.
Love it.
Yeah, a lot of renovations going on, a lot of acquisitions. So just a lot of balls in the air, but everything is good.
You are a master juggler, my friend. Always have been. I guess just give the audience a quick rundown of who you are and where you're from and what you're focused on building right now.
Yeah. So my name is Evan Rugen. Again, thank you for the incredible intro, Brett. That was awesome.
Hey, it's all true.
Yeah. I'm originally from upstate New York, which is where I am right now. I'm actually in an LVL property. I initially, like Brett said, started as a dog walker in New York City. I met an elderly couple. I exchanged my services for room and board. I lived with them for about 6 months, woke up every morning, walked their dogs, watered the plants, made breakfast, went to work selling real estate. And of course, I'm 19 and selling a product in a town in which I'm unfamiliar. So probably the worst real estate agent ever. And then, would go home, walk the dogs, make dinner, water the plants. I'm 19 at the time. I feel like I'm just like, I'm a 19-year-old. Yeah, it's a 19, 20-year-old playland. And I'm sort of trapped in this apartment on the Upper West Side. So I did that for as long as humanly possible. I think I moved in May, moved out in March of 2015. So about 6 months. Moved into a shared space in East Harlem with 3 other gentlemen, and just kept doing sublease to sublease. And my real estate career grew, and the accounts grew, and I was an agent from 2014 until really 2020, full time, every day, 7 days a week.
Excellent.
COVID hit. Yeah, COVID hit, and for the first time in life, I'm 25. I get to reflect on life. I'm like, what do I want to do? And the idea of syndication and being a fund manager was always very attractive to me. And I wasn't bringing as much value as I wanted to the real estate transaction. Mm-hmm. So I formally launched LVL during COVID of 2020. I'd already purchased a home that was in a renovation. And since then, we've purchased about 20 single family and multifamily homes in the Hudson Valley, which is about 3 hours north of New York City.
Unbelievable story, man. So in 7 years time from dog walker to the leader of a real estate fund with over $10 million in holdings. I mean, that's pretty cool, man.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
It's inspiring stuff. It just shows that, I think people sometimes, as Tony Robbins said, they overestimate what they can do in a year, but they probably underestimate what they can do in that 5 to 10 year span. You really can do almost anything you want in 10 years, and you're living proof of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, making the jump from full-time agent to investor is a pretty scary one. I mean, the truth of the matter is like most real estate agents go through a majority of their careers helping other people buy and sell real estate, but they don't own any of their own. That's a majority of agents out there. When did you know in this transition from agent to investor that you were on to something big?
Um, when did I know that I was on to something big? I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe it hasn't. I don't know if it's hit me yet. I thought you were going to go in a different way with that question. I thought you were going to ask, like, when did you know it was right to jump?
Sure. Let's go with that then. When did you know it was right to stop helping people buy and sell and instead start buying on your own?
Yeah, I mean, really just, the idea of being an agent, I loved it. You met so many incredible people. You interact with so many, from the super to the $100 million real estate developer.
Sure.
You interact with such a multitude of people. But I was in Florida during COVID, and I'm like, oh wow,
Mhm.
and I was staying with a guy who was a syndicator, a fund manager, and he was completely running his business from Florida. And I'm like, oh wow, you're not tethered to a certain area. This is
Right.
really, really attractive. So that was one. And our first project we purchased for 50,000. We did $150,000 worth of renovations, and it reappraised for 400,000. So I'm like, oh wow, this was just one transaction. If we're able to do this at scale, I'm able to add way more value to to myself and empower so many more people. So yeah, it's never the right time. You just gotta go
Right.
for it. I know it's extremely cliche, but you just gotta obviously have 6 months of savings, but you just gotta go all in
Love it.
and
I
figure it out
love it,
later.
man.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's just dive into the business just a little bit so people more fully understand what does the fund look like right now, as far as process goes, and what's the value that you guys are bringing to the marketplace right now?
Yeah, yeah. So I operate in an area in upstate New York. So like I said, I'm originally from this area. I moved to New York City. I've been there, for 6, 7 years, and I never really left. I was in New York, every single day. And
Sure.
I would start running into people and like, oh, I'm going upstate this weekend. I'm going to Hudson. I'm going to Caro. And I'm like, why? Why are you going up there? Like, like, because I just hadn't been since I left.
Sure.
And I went back and I saw the real shift, and I saw, Warren Street in Hudson, as you know, it's extremely popular. And I started running into people I knew from Manhattan. And yeah, it was a really clear market fit. I'm from this area. I already know a few people to launch something. So
Sure.
when we first launched in an area I'm familiar with, the goal in business is, you don't want to have competition. You
Right.
don't want to have that's another thing with being a real estate agent. It's like there's so many other people are doing it. It's so fierce.
Oh, sure. I think there's 40,000 agents in New York City alone. So boy, you better be on top of your game.
Yeah, competing for the same things. It's like I wanted to do something that, I didn't have as much competition, and there's not a lot of people sourcing off-market deals in this
True.
market. So we created a platform that sources off-market deals through a variety of different ways, sort of machine learning of when someone is likely to sell,
Sure.
or, tax delinquents, tax foreclosures, and then also financing in interesting ways, subject to, which means it's my attorney. So I'm gonna call him back.
Busy man, Evan Rugen
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I just spoke to him too. Yeah, subject to assuming mortgages, seller finance, and really just driving value. And all creativity is seeing something that somebody else can't see.
I love
So
that.
many properties we've purchased, and they're like, Evan, why are you buying that? Why are you buying that? I'm like, just wait, just give me a little bit of time, and we're gonna turn this thing around. For example, the property we're in,
Sure.
this property.
And it is beautiful, man. You guys did a great job with that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Let me see if I can. You get the general idea.
Oh, look at the open kitchen. Now, what do we call that type of ceiling? Is there a name for that? Like that pointed?
Maybe vaulted exposed beams.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Really
So,
nice.
yeah. So I remember I actually I walked through this property with my mom after we were already under contract, and we walked
Sure.
in, and a pipe had burst, and there's a bunch of water in the basement, and he's like, Evan, don't buy this. I'm like, sorry, it's too late. I'm pulling the trigger.
I
So,
love when you bring mom to the walkthrough, by
oh
the way.
yeah, it's
That's
it was supposed to
excellent.
be like a nice moment, like, oh mom, check out what I'm doing, and there's 12 inches of water in the basement. There's a pipe burst. It didn't go as planned.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's stabilized now. This home is about 24 by 23. So,
Okay.
Not anything crazy. 40-foot marble slab that actually came with it. And just this property alone will probably gross around $60,000 in Airbnb. And then next door it came with two different parcels and a pool. Next door, that's a more of a farmhouse that will gross about similarly about 65,000. So these two homes that we purchased for 400,000, it will gross about 120,000 in the first fiscal year.
Unbelievable.
And it appraised for $750,000. So, if you minus all expenses, so essentially $250,000 of value creation just by buying something. It's like, that was like a full year of work for me. You got to
close a lot of deals as a real estate agent to be looking at that type of revenue. So I can certainly understand why you went in the direction that you did. Let's just talk a little bit about kind of like how you got to where you are. Have you always had this entrepreneurial spirit, or is this kind of something that you've developed along the way?
I think so. I think it's funny, as a kid, obviously the typical stories, selling lemonade, stuff like that.
Were you that kid? Were you the selling lemonade kid?
Yeah, 100%. I was walking around town with I walked around town with a squeegee and Windex, and I'd go up to local businesses like, hey, can I wash your windows? It was actually very lucrative. So did that for a while. Yeah. And my first job, I was working at a plant nursery, and that was like no tips, just straight job, like planting plants out in the sun all day. And that was really that was the most job I ever had. I'm like, I do not want to do this. I was 13 years old. I'm like, this sucks. Up at 7 a.m. You're in the sun. Yeah. So the next job I got was at a restaurant, and it's still a job, but it's a little bit more entrepreneurial. You get tips, and you can meet connections, stuff like that, a little more social. I'm like, okay, I like this a little bit more. And then I had one other job in between that was a cart boy at a golf course. Again, the tip.
I love it.
Yeah, just finding small ways to get extra dollars out of people, and just customer service. And then moved to New York. Dropped out of college after 1 semester, or after 2 semesters, sorry. And started selling real estate. And at a certain point, you're a point of no return. Like, I'm not gonna go to college. Like, that's just not gonna happen. So I am a person. I have to eat what I kill. I have to drive value. Otherwise, I'm out of business. So 100%. At this point, it's just in my blood.
Let's dive into that decision real quick to leave college after 1 semester. Were you just realizing this type of 9-to-5 job thing that everyone around me is kind of going for is just not the path for me, or what did that decision look for you?
So I did 2 semesters at Hudson Valley, and I told my parents, as a way to be like, all right, let me move to the city. I'm going to continue my education at Borough Manhattan Community College. So I went for 2 semesters upstate. Wow, you're really jogging the archives.
I'm digging in deep here. I need to know exactly.
This is good research,
why? How did Evan get to be who he is today, and what were the decisions that got you to this point?
Yeah, good question. So I did,
because there's probably some people out there that are in college right now, and they're wondering, is this for me? And should I just drop out and forge my own path right now?
Well, and look, if you do that, you have you have closed a lot of doors. That's for sure. And there's a variety of jobs that need college, and I think college is great for meeting people. But the reason, I guess, the needle on the haystack, or not the needle on the haystack, the straw that broke the camel's back, let's call it that.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah. I was in a public speaking class.
Okay.
And then people are like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to accomplish after you graduate? And one kid was like, I want to form an LLC, and I wanted to be. I'm like, dude, that takes 10 minutes. You don't need a college degree to do that. and then so that I'm like, all right, whatever. Maybe he didn't know. And then the next person was like, I want to make 6 figures, and the whole class was like, ooh, it was. And this was 2015, so 2016, simpler times. But the whole class thought it was the craziest thing. And I was already making 6 figures. And I'm like, what am I doing here?
What am I doing here? This is not my room.
This is not my speed.
So that was it.
Yeah, it took a while for my mom to understand it, but this is how I quantified to her. So graduated in 2013, right? I would have graduated with an undergrad in 2017. I then would have been probably not satisfied with the job prospects. Let me go back to college. Would have gotten a master's, would have graduated in 2019. I'm then whatever, 2024. So look, I graduated 2019, making probably good money as a master's student, maybe. Then COVID hits in 2020, I get fired. So it's like I could have either done that or spent 6 years building a business and like building an empire.
I think even mom can appreciate that timeline for sure. And
Yeah,
I'm sure she understood. Let's just talk quickly kind of about, work ethic. I think to build what you've built, work ethic is obviously a massive part of the equation. I think a lot of people out there, they have these big goals, they have these big dreams, they don't take the action on them. And sometimes I think it equates to just pure laziness that holds them back. Have you always been a very hardworking guy, or was this kind of a skill that you had to teach yourself along the way?
I look at some other jobs out there and I'm like, wow, I'm really happy I'm not doing that. Let me do more of this so I don't have to do that. I remember whenever I'd be driving with my dad on a real like rainy day and there'd be someone digging a ditch. My dad's like, go to college or you'll end up like that. Like, don't want to be doing that. So yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to do what I get to do, and I'm very, very lucky. So yes, I guess I work hard, but I think a lot of it is just doing one thing for an uncommon amount of time. Just keep pushing, keep going, keep going. So many people are going to say no. So many people, that shit happens all the time with owning homes. The electrical will go out and you have a guest checking in 12 hours or what else? I mean, there's just a number of things, but I'm happy to be in the seat I'm in. And I guess what motivates me is, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do. And I like this an awful lot.
I love it, man. I think that's good. So, kind of like seeing that other people are doing jobs out there, like, real grunt work, physical labor type jobs. And like,
not even to that level. It's just like, or just have a job in general.
Right.
Like,
that you don't want to go to every day.
Yourself as well. You're an entrepreneur. It's like, me personally, I just will do anything not to do that. I will do anything not to have a job.
I mean, I love that. I mean, but do you ever feel a resistance to work? Do you ever just get up and you say to yourself, I don't want to talk to all these contractors, follow up with all these deals and do everything that I'm supposed to do? And is there anything that you do or say to yourself to kind of fight through that resistance and laziness? Or is that something that you don't really experience too often?
No, I mean, dude, trust me, there's a lot of days I do not want to talk to people, but like a lot of times if I'm back against the wall, I'm at the point of no return where I have to keep pushing myself forward. And it's like, if you're not failing, you're not trying. That's a quote I repeat to myself a lot. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
100%.
So yeah, like dude, 1,000,000%. But at the same time, and I could be better at this as well. And I've been practicing this lately. It's like, if you spend less time on other ventures, like if you're on TikTok and Instagram and all these things that are sapping your dopamine all day, then you're really not going to want to talk to these people. But if you're kind of bored and you're restricting yourself, you might not mind talking to these people or doing these tasks because you have some dopamine,
Yeah, no, listen, I'm a big believer in dopamine and its ability to kind of, drive us to take action.
Right.
Let's dive down that rabbit hole real quick for a second here. Do you do anything to avoid that dopamine rush? Like, do you avoid maybe like, drugs and alcohol, television? Do you try and limit your social media? All these things that kind of flood our brain with dopamine in an unnatural way, or do you try and limit those things?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I could always do a better job, but today actually, tomorrow I will be a year sober.
Wow, that's unbelievable, man.
Yeah. How long are you, by the way? Where are you at?
I haven't had a drink in about 3.5 years. Yeah, that's when I pulled the plug on the booze train myself. And to me, I would say anyone out there who thinks alcohol might be holding them back even a little bit, take 90 days off. And I think at the end of that 90 days, you'll know. And there's a good chance that you may never turn back.
Yeah. So that's a big one.
How about social media?
Social
Do
media.
you try and limit your exposure to it? Like how many hours a day does Evan Rugen spend scrolling through TikTok or Instagram Reels?
Yeah, being honest, I mean, I for the last few months, I've been sort of loosey goosey about it. I haven't been paying attention too much. It's like on TikTok, for example, for the last month, we've been going viral like very frequently. So
100%. Yeah.
I've been checking it a good
Mhm.
amount. Because it's hard to look away when I think this month we got 3 million views. So it's like it's hard to put down the phone when you're have that much input coming in. But I try to turn off the phone an hour before I go to bed. I really, when I wake up in the morning, I try to not look at it. Because it just sort of sets the tone for the rest of the day.
Sure, it's like a reactive tone.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
reacting to the world as opposed to really setting forth a plan.
Yeah.
But as you said, you're drawing somewhere between 2 and 3 million views a month right now
Right.
on social media. So let's just dive into that super quick. What does your social media process look like? Are you jotting down ideas as they come to you on a daily basis? Are you a believer in batching your content? What do you think has allowed you to grow on social media, as quickly as you have?
Yeah. A lot of my content is very organic, at least on TikTok,
Okay.
which is what naturally does the best on that platform.
Okay.
Um, so I sort of just follow like three rules. You want to inform and entertain at the same time. So you don't
Sure.
want to be too educational, and you don't want to be too just cracking jokes. If you can do
Okay.
a cross section of the two, for example, when I talk about rent stabilized apartments in New York City, those videos always perform extremely well, and I get incredible engagement. I think the
Okay.
last vacant apartment video I posted got about 250,000 views, and I think we're up about 1,000 followers, which was a very good ratio. Some videos I
Hell yeah,
post
it
are
is.
just purely humor. It will get like 250,000 views and like 20 followers, or if
Right.
it's too educational, it will get no views and no followers. So you
Sure.
want to have a cross section of the two.
I like
Number
that.
two is, yeah, you want to visualize what the top comment will be. You want to
Okay.
visualize what user 6646 will say, like, oh, like, they always call me Walmart Charlie Puth. Like, look at Walmart Charlie Puth spitting game again.
That's an incredible moniker. Who coined that one?
I
That's
I don't
great.
know. The TikTokers have like grabbed it. Now it's theirs. Like, that's who I am.
Oh my God. God
Um,
bless you. That is
yeah,
huge. That's
yeah.
huge for the brand.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Walmart Charlie Puth right here.
Oh my
Or maybe
goodness.
honestly with the caption spell something wrong.
Sure.
My buddy, he bought a fake rat and he was doing a day in the life, and he just started off the video by him stepping on a rat and not saying anything. And like all the commenters were like, yo, you just stepped on a rat. Like, what the fuck? Like, and he just kept recording. He's like, oh, New
Sure.
Yorkers be like, just stuff like that.
I love it, man. So it's super organic. Now, do you spend any time kind of researching the trends, trying to hop on the trends, or is it just kind of like you think of something and you start filming?
I've really just been ripping lately. I really
Just ripping. Just let it rip.
haven't even been looking at the trends.
I love it.
Maybe I'll swipe a little bit to find some trends, but not as much as I should. And another great tip for you: do you use I think it's called Snaptic?
I've heard of it, but I don't know. It's like trending sounds. Does it tell you what the trending sounds are?
I'm sure that's a utility of it, but what I use it
Yeah.
for is so you can copy your link and put it in there, and it repurposes it without the TikTok logo, so you can put it on any platform.
Oh, I love it. So you record a majority of your content directly into the TikTok app,
Oh
and then
yeah,
you'll use an app to take the logo off, and then you can
yeah,
repurpose it to Reels, or YouTube Shorts is a great place to get some
yeah,
views right
yeah.
now. That makes a lot of
I
sense.
honestly, a lot of our old videos too that went viral, like I can let me probably pull this up. A lot of our videos from like months ago, we've reposted it and they're doing extremely well that we already posted.
That's pretty
Um,
interesting. And I think that's
yeah,
something a lot of people don't do. They feel like they post a video once, don't post it again. But you do hear some of these Instagram coach gurus saying you can
yeah,
absolutely repost popular posts. I
yeah,
mean,
because people
you know,
don't remember. Like, we had a post about the saunas. I reposted it. I initially posted it last year about it opening up again, and we reposted it last week. I got 112,000.
there you go.
Another one about Halloween from last year got 50,000. And a lot of the information sometimes isn't correct, but again, that evokes the comments.
Sure. And the
Yeah,
comments are gold. The comments will get that pushed out to more people.
exactly,
Um, that
exactly,
that
exactly.
that That's pretty fun. My most viral video ever got like 4 million views. And I think a big
That's
reason
insane. I've never gotten 4 million.
I think a
That's
big reason it
crazy.
got 4 million was because I spelt your wrong. I used
Yeah.
the wrong version of your, and it was like, 500 comments of people making fun of me about using the wrong your, and I'm sure that's what actually got it pushed out even more.
No, definitely. I'm on low battery. Let me grab my charger quick, Brad.
Sure, sounds good.
You are such a good listener, man. I think this podcast is going to be huge.
I appreciate that, Evan. I appreciate you taking the time to be on here. So yeah, just a couple more topics before we wrap up. I think already people are going to be able to get a lot of value from this. Let's just talk about, using time efficiently and effectively. I think anyone doing big things on this planet is using their time well. Are you more of like a to-do lister, or are you more of like a time blocker? Like, how do you organize your time on like a daily and weekly basis?
Oh yeah, I mean, right here, I'm definitely a to-do lister. I will usually take about 15 minutes, set the alarm, and just turn off everything and just write down, let my mind just run aimlessly of what I need to do today. And I'll write down everything, and then I'll try and accomplish as many of those things as possible per day. Okay,
so that's how you start your morning. You shut everything down. You actually write them at freehand, it looks like, onto a notepad.
Yeah.
And that's your day, and then you're just going straight through that list, and that's the goal. And I guess the next day you probably look at your list from the previous day, see things that you didn't get done, and I'm assuming they get added to today's list.
Exactly. Yep.
I love it. All the complicated apps out there and to-do list platforms, and sometimes just the old pen and paper is the most effective thing.
A pen and paper, dude. Oh my God. If I could give a tip to anyone, get a really good journal. I probably burned through 10 of these. Just like, I don't know. I don't even know what this is. I don't know the size, but get a journal that's a little bit bigger so you can actually write out your thoughts. Nothing like paper, pen to paper. And just, I express myself better via word and just getting things on paper so you don't forget them.
Sure.
I always will have my notebook with me.
I love it. And honestly, that's true. I mean, boy, almost every time we've ever gotten together for lunch or a meeting or anything, you have had some sort of journal or notebook with you for taking notes. And I'm almost
scared to bring it outside because it's like so critical. There's so much good content in here that I don't like leaving at the house sometimes. But for you, Brett, I bring it out.
Well, it's much appreciated, my friend.
Yeah.
So just a couple more things. I just think, you're really providing a lot of value for the audience right now, and things that they can actually use. Do you believe in work-life balance, or do you think that anyone looking to make a massive impact on this planet has to be solely focused on their mission with the majority of their waking hours?
I mean, look, like, it really depends. It depends on what business you're in. For example, I have a lot of friends that are software engineers.
Sure.
That, they're very, very gifted and they're launching businesses. They're just doing it out of thin air, and they're not, they can almost, they can do a lot. But for me personally, how I best operate, or what I tell myself, is like, live a few years like most won't, so you can live the rest of your life like most can't. Like, sure. I'm in the building stage. That's why I'm sober. I never had an issue with drinking. That's why I don't really, smoke marijuana or do any drugs. Is like, I have a rare opportunity to create this thing right now and create multi-generational wealth. Because I know at some point I'm gonna want to have a little one like you, and have a family. And
for sure.
I just don't want those to mix. I don't want it to be the time where I'm ready to have a kid. And I'm not able to because my finances or my career isn't where I want it to be. And it's like, the way I look at it is, when you have a kid, you're no longer the most important person in your life.
Sure. So, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So when I have that kid, I just, which again is not even on the horizon. I can't get a date off a calendar. Don't worry about it. But when that time does come, I want to be, ready.
So would you say a majority of your waking hours right now, like your mind is pretty much focused on building the fund? I mean, a lot of people have distractions in life. They're thinking about sports or fantasy football or this or that. Would you say that a majority of your waking hours are laser focused on building the company right now?
Yes. Yes. I don't really think about anything else. It's yeah. Yeah. No.
And I mean, and I think that's really the key. That's why you've been able to build it as quick as you have. It's laser like focus.
Yeah. 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 Just there's so many variables moving. There's so many check-ins. Like it's, yes, you have to outsource, but at a certain point, it's like, I'm the controller of a lot of different variables right now. So just again, another reason why I stopped drinking alcohol. I don't want to look back in my life and wonder what would have been different. So
Sure.
yeah, just giving it my all right now because there's a lot of people relying on me.
And I think that's probably a big reason too that you're able to get up and take such massive action. You have so many people relying on you right now. There's
Yeah.
almost no option.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's important to put a little pressure on yourself from even from a financial perspective, like investing heavily in yourself and your business, or perhaps even a little bit more than you should be betting on yourself, so to speak, like maybe making a hire early on, things like this, like, did you do anything like this, or do you think it's important for entrepreneurs to play it safe with their finances, or do you think they really should invest heavily early on and kind of put a little pressure on themselves, light a little fire underneath their butts?
Yeah. I mean, that's again sort of a relative question. I would say for me personally, I don't really come from a lot financially speaking. So
Sure.
like Kobe Bryant said, his dad said to him, he's like, dude, like, I don't care what you do. If you don't make it a basketball, I'm still going to love you. And they gave him the ability to fail. So even if I was a janitor, my parents would be pumped,
Sure.
I have the ability to fail. And it's like, I didn't come here with anything. So like, I don't really have any expectations,
I love it.
So it's like, I really, I came here with nothing, but I also have everything to gain. So I don't have a lot of pressure from my parents or, prestigious, financiers. Like my dad was a chiropractor. My mom was a nurse, really blue collar upbringing, and had the ability to fail.
I love it. What's the quote that you always say? I love it. There's two people in your life that you have to make happy.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, again, I thought I'll repeat both quotes, but yeah, there's two people in your life that you have to make happy, and that's your 5-year-old self. Like think about your little, like yourself, like 5 years old, smiling, happy, full of life, full of curiosity. And then your 80-year-old self, looking back on everything, looking back on life, like, did I take enough risks? Should I have asked that girl out? Should I have moved to that, that new place? Should I have taken that opportunity? And then the two pains you'll suffer with for the rest of your life, sort of a similar vein, is the pain of regret or the pain of discipline. But the pain of discipline is like a paperweight, and the pain of regret is like a cinder block. Because when you look back at it all in 30, 40 years, I don't want to have that pain of regret.
No, I think it's important to kind of make your decisions, based on that type of scope of thinking.
Right.
Think long term. When I'm 80 years old, am I going to be happy with the amount of chances I took? Am I going to wish, exactly like you said, I talked to that girl, or I started that business, or I really went for that dream? And I think we've all got a dream inside of our heads and our souls, and it's there. And we can either ignore it or we can listen to it, and we can take action towards it.
Exactly. And not everyone gets a chance to play this game of life. Not everyone has that chance to do that thing. So that's what I'm so fortunate for.
Absolutely, man. I think we'll wrap up here on this one, and just I really appreciate your time today, Evan. What would you tell people that are listening right now? They've got a big dream in their mind and their hearts, but they're feeling stuck. They're not taking action. What should they do to get unstuck?
I mean, a lot of it is distraction. I mean, if you're gonna make any big decision in your life, I always say, like, maybe go to a new environment, go on a hike with a friend, get out of the environment that you're in, because there's a lot of things in that environment that may be holding you down, whether it's your parents or just your friends, your family. Just go somewhere else to make that decision. But also on a larger scale, like at the exact time it's becoming more profitable to have focus and deep work, less and less and less people can do it. There's
Sure.
a reason there's an Adderall shortage right now. Everyone, seriously, everyone's like,
It
oh, I
makes
can't
it
focus. I can't focus. Yeah, because you're on
sure.
TikTok and Instagram every single day, swiping and swiping and swiping. Your
Yeah.
dopamine is depleted. Like, of course, you're not going to want to do hard work when you get literally the most stimulating things possible.
Sure, sure. I remember talking to you during COVID too. I remember you read that book, Deep Work.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
you you you
profound.
you went off social media for I think it was a month or two.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like shortly after that that you really started taking massive action,
Yeah.
towards your current pursuit. And I'm sure just that time out for you was pivotal in making that decision in your head and your heart and actually starting to take action,
Big
towards
time,
creating,
man. Big time. Big time.
for sure.
Big time. So I guess my advice would be, shut off the social media if you can for a little bit, or at least limit your time. Get a notebook, write down what you want out of this life, and go for it.
Evan, awesome. Awesome stuff today. Where can everyone, find you, listen to you, follow you, and keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah. So all socials are the same. Bowery, BOI, like Soldier Boy, Bowery Boy. If you want to get crazy and have additional questions, not crazy, but if you also email me, Evan at LVL, just the letters LVL group NY
Love it.
.com.
There it is. Hey, that was it. Officially in the books. Episode
Woo!
1 of Doing Big Things. Thank you, Mr. Rugen. Can't wait
How
to
do you
check in with you
feel?
next year. Feel good. Feel good. I'm ready to do it again. Thanks, brother.
All right, cool.